Good afternoon. I probably should start by dropping a glass or tripping over to make sure everybody's awake, but I think you're probably awake by now. The development part of pharma R&D starts with a molecule. We all know that. But it also starts with a bunch of uncertainties. And actually, it's a big bunch. And all these uncertainties must really be considered when you design your drug development program. Some of the questions that you run into: what indication should I go for? What's my target market? What scope should the studies and activities I run have? What's the balance between risk and reward in this program? Complex issues, and typically, and maybe surprisingly, the tool support that people have is Microsoft Office. This leads to a fragmentation of information. It leads to oversimplification. It's hard to get a big picture. You see the effects of decisions on the value and risk. This leads to poor decisions, sometimes with huge impact. This is not new, but the economics of drug development has changed over the years. For example, the return on investment has gone from 14% 20 years ago to 4% now, and that leaves less room for error. Captario sum has been designed with 20 years of, or actually more, several decades of drug development experience. It's the only software that combines, that gives a structure that captures all these complexities of the drug development. The market information that where you're going, the knowledge you need to get there, both the knowledge that you have, but also the knowledge you don't have, and the activities you need to perform to actually gain the knowledge you need to get to the market. It's also unique in that it takes the qualitative information and creates mathematical models. These can be used to prototype, to compare, and to optimize different options in your path to the market. This helps you to focus on doing the right things, not just doing things right, as we've seen. We connect the claims, the product claims, with the customer needs, which can help increase product differentiation and increase the top-line revenue. Captario sum provides a view of the end game the whole time through the project. And that makes it less risk that you actually miss out on things. You don't have to catch up with things you had done before. You can launch earlier. And with Captario sum, you can actually identify critical uncertainties that you can address early, and possibly for a non-viable drug, you can actually terminate the project earlier. Now, all this seems to be sort of a big issue, a lot of information. Typically, though, you start using Captario sum by working on one question. The overhead in starting using Captario sum is very little. You enter the information you need to answer a question, you work on it. Any information that's already in the system, you can use, it's readily available. Now, this is just talk so far. Let me show you a couple of examples. The first one is about phase design. The second one is about market orientation. In this case, we're going to look at two different phase options, and we're going to use a quantitative model to compare these. In addition to a sort of a standard phase 2B setup, this project team has come up with an alternative. They see that they can put a bit more effort into the phase 2B studies, and through that, they can be better at designing the phase 3 trials and thereby increasing the probability of success there and the probability of launch. So in this case, the green option here, which is the team's alternative, is $40 million more expensive. It takes 6 months longer to run, but then we get the increased probability of launch. Which one should we choose? In Captario Sum, you start by drawing up your options as process graphs, the activities, the gateways, the different paths you can choose. For the activities, you add ranges for your costs and your timing, and you add probabilities of success into this. For the market phase, you add models for revenue cost, and again, everything is entered as ranges. So you just enter what you know, you don't have to really guess. And then you simulate, run the project 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 times, and you get a wealth of information, and this can be plotted in different ways. Here's one. On the x-axis, we have value. On the y-axis, a measure of risk. In this case, we see that the blue-green option, the team's option, increases the value, but also increases the risk. What do they choose? Well, this is not really a good decision for a team to take, because a project can't really absorb risk. What you can do is to take this material, go up to your portfolio group, and they can compare it with the portfolio, see, can we absorb the risk to get the additional value? Sometimes we get the question, now, is this the way to run phase 2 always? Should we always go for a heavier phase 2? And this is not a generic answer. By changing the market conditions, we get a different answer. Everything else is the same in this example, but here we see that the market, the value increase does not offset the risk. So in this case, you could actually say, just go with the cheaper, faster option. The second example is around market orientation. The team has 3 target product profiles they want to look at, and to see where can we launch it, where can't we launch it. In Captario Sum, you can enter the customers you're looking for at, their needs. You can enter the claims you want to achieve to fulfill those needs, and connect those claims up into target product profiles. And then you can get the analysis. In this case, we see that 2 of these profiles lack significant information to actually be able to launch in Japan. Is that important? Well, in this case, you can actually use the quantitative part of Captario Sum and see if the market value is worth the additional work and time to get those boxes ticked off. Now, these 2 examples, they show this combination of qualitative modeling and quantitative modeling that makes Captario Sum unique. Captario is a global company from the start. We're focusing on the European market right now, and we'll turn to the US subsequently. Our market here is about 2,000 companies with over 5,000 projects. And we're offering Captario Sum on a subscription plan based on the number of projects that use it. We have ongoing projects with paying customers, and we're looking for investment, our first non-founder investment, in order to accelerate our growth. And we could also interested in discussing partnerships with consultants that want to extend their services with Captario Sum. Thank you. I'm here, at the buffet afterwards, and Johannes Vengård is also here in the audience. And we can, right there, And you're welcome to talk to us afterwards.
Thank you, Mikael. We have time for questions here as well. So I have an immediate question that this seems to be more general than just for drug developers.
Yep.
And for example, just taking from the thin air, if you have a company that develops a new kind of bandage giving a precise pressure, would that be suitable to look at the future, what to pick?
Yes,
kind of,
I mean...
or is it just for big companies? Or?
No. First of all, it's generic. SUM stands for Strategic Uncertainty Management. Mm-hmm. So as long as you have a process that has critical uncertainties in it, which is typical for drug development, then you can use it. We have been looking at the medtech area, but we've also discussed this with oil companies. Mm-hmm. But we have to start somewhere, and pharma, since we come from pharma, it seems to be a good start. And the other thing is that our customers include single project companies and big pharma. So there's no difference there. Well, there are different approaches, but it works in both cases.
Interesting. So I really like the modeling part, of course. I think that part, but you have, I guess you also meet a lot of different cultures, but this is not the way how we do strategic decisions using modeling. No. So that would be a hurdle to overcome the culture difference in approaching big decisions like that. Have you experienced that, or?
Yes, I mean, when we meet companies, you come into the culture of the company. Yeah. And the bigger the company, the harder it is to sort of penetrate and understand that. And I think one of the things that we've learned is that it's very important to find a benevolent gatekeeper, if you will.
All right.
To find someone who sees what this is about, thinks it's a good idea, but also has some clout in the organization to sort of find a path to the right people and present it in the right way.
Okay.
It's very hard to do from the outside, so that's one way of doing it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mikael. We have a gift here, of course. And it's coffee and tea, and some candies.
Thank you very much. Thank you.